Hello, Tormenta coaches for the Select program. Brad Nine here. I have been putting together some documents for the upcoming fall season and wanted to go over them with you in this type of media so that you have the recording and I will have the attachment, the document attached to the email I'm going to send. I hope you're excited about the upcoming fall season. I'm super excited. I know the kids are going to be thrilled for this upcoming journey that they're going to be going on with you leading the way. I'm going to share my screen here and let you talk about the Tormenta FC Coaching Excellence document I've created and how we're going to incorporate this into our teaching this year. All right, so here's the document. It has our significant coaching philosophy. It also has a checklist of things we're going to be completing this year for the season. I would print this out and keep it somewhere where it's visible from day to day so that you can see each and every single day what we're supposed to be doing at Tormenta and how we're going to lead our kids to success. Number one, I love John Wooden, former UCLA basketball coach that won more than 10 NCAA championships as the coach, fantastic books. Unfortunately, he has passed away since, but a lot of his quotes still ring true today. And this first one is knowledge is not enough to get desired results. You must have the more elusive ability to teach and motivate. This defines a leader. So within this document, I'm attempting to give ideas, share concepts about what we want to do with our kids in order to assist you to find that more elusive ability of teaching and motivating. This is something that has to happen over the course of this year so that we can have success, so our groups can continue to grow in numbers, so we can continue to move up into higher leagues and eventually have a full second or third tier level of teams at every single age group that is pushing for championships and pushing for development and is pushing to get into the MLS next groups. We win when we have what it looks like on our U19s at this moment, which is 6 different teams throughout the area, all playing at extremely high levels. We want to create that starting at U13. Some of this I'm just going to read over so that you have a good idea of what it is, and then I'll pass on my idea of what my thought process is. You as the coach, you are the biggest difference between sport enjoyment and disappointment for the players and families we will be working with this year. Fun is the number one reason why kids play the game and why they keep playing the game. Coaches who gain clarity and learn what is considered fun for their team in training and gameplay will have a deeper connection and understanding of the players in which they work. In the beginning of a season, I think it's super important to set the standards of what you're going to be doing for the entire season. Talk to the kids about what is fun for them during training. It is different for every single age group. At U19, fun might be working as hard as we can in order to have a successful training so we can prepare for the game on the weekend. Fun may also be considered working on my college applications, something I have to do, talking to college coaches, those types of things. While at 14, if I'm on a third level team at U14, possibly playing on a FIFA tournament on the way to the game with my friends is super fun and super exciting. How can we all encompass all of these things so these kids have memorable moments throughout their entire experience at Tormenta? Define fun with your players. That's what your session should look like. This year, I plan to come out and taking over the role of director of coaching at the club. I plan to come out and see what you're doing in your sessions. And this will be one of the questions I ask you. Did your athletes have fun today? And I hope that you can define what fun was for them in that session And when I go and talk to them and ask them what part of the activity and the session was fun, that they'll come back and tell me the exact same part that you were mentioning. Your challenge this year: can we make the sport serious, make training challenging and difficult, all while still having players say, when is the next practice? They want to go home and practice on their own because they have so much fun with you and want to train, want to get better. You've created a relationship and a connection with them. Not only the best player on the team, but player 17 on the team is connected to you and thinks you are such an amazing coach and that you do everything just for them. That's where we need this relationship and connection to be. What is the level of fun they have within each session? That's the connection. Do you ask them questions about how their day at school went? Do you ask them questions about how home is going? Do you ask them questions about their favorite footballers? Do you ask them questions about, did you go to the Tormenta game this weekend? How are you, in a professional manner, building a relationship with them? The three most important questions I have found at any level, at any sport, and these are the ones you should ask yourself, did they accomplish during every session? Did the athletes have fun? Did the athletes learn something? And do the athletes want to come back again and train? Those are the questions that I'll be working with you on when I'm out at your sessions. Fun creates an environment of learning, player development, friendship, and potentially winning soccer games when contoured correctly by the coach. What do the players you work with consider fun in your training environment? The best players continuously come back to training year after year after year after year. They don't take a year off from training and then come back the following year. Most data and research shows right now that if a kid takes time off from a sport, they're probably not coming back. They aren't coming back because they're not having fun. How are you going to create that environment of fun within your session so that they come back year after year after year to improve and get better and take the challenge and all of those types of things? That is our goal. Can we keep them from year to year to year so that they can be within our development model and become the best player they can be as they move on to the college or professional game? We're going to incorporate the Tormenta way to instruct and coach, which is a positive approach to athletic coaching. The three things we should be doing often: use positive reinforcement, encourage the athletes, educate through sound technical instruction. If those three things can be built around fun within your session, you are accomplishing what every coach dreams of. You are accomplishing a connection with your players. You are giving your players the opportunity to win games on the weekend. You are giving your players the opportunity to have memorable experiences. You are giving your players the opportunity to go tell others in the neighborhood what a great coach you are. And you're giving your players the opportunity to continue growing year after year after year and become a better player. These are the things we want to happen at Tormenta FC. Athletes who play for Tormenta coaches using this positive style of high reinforcement and encouragement have increased levels of fun, self-esteem, and positive personality development. Coaches who use the positive approach will begin to get to know the athletes as unique individuals and have an increased level of group cohesion along with a relationship that is built. The athletes will have fun at practice and want to come back and improve. The only way you become a better soccer player is if you keep coming back to training and gameplay. Through fun, our players will do that. These players will also want to go home and practice the learned skills to show the coach at the next practice how much more skilled they have become. Tormenta coaches will reinforce effort, skill development, teamwork, leadership, and sportsmanship as much as when they do results. When instructing, we will emphasize the good things that can happen from proper execution as opposed to the negative things that will happen with poor performance. Something I don't want to hear is don't do that. Don't pass it into the middle, as an example. Is there a way you can try to get your point across, but tell the child where you want them to play the ball? Don't pass it into the middle is something I hear often from coaches when, if we're good enough, we can do that. But if your team is being pressed and you can't do that at the moment, maybe instead of going to the negative, you go to the positive and say, can we just play it outside this time? Think about your words. Your words are super important, whether it comes off as a positive or a negative statement. For every one negative statement you make, every one critical statement, you need 10 positive reinforcement statements to build that player back up so that they want to come back and be part of the team, so that you build a relationship with the player, so that they will come and train their hardest for you. And you're not until October and you only have 8 players at your session. Could anything be more boring or showing me, the director, that you don't have a relationship with your players when there's a minimal number of players showing up for your sessions? Create the relationship with your players so that all they want to do is come to your session. Do not give them an excuse to not come to your session. Our club philosophy on player development. Okay, development over winning. Number one. Read the other part on your own. Player development over team development. We serve the needs of the player. Age appropriate fun. I've gone over that in depth already. Quality training. That means you put together a session during the day. You go out and you try to run that session. Talk to your director if you need help with activities or session design. Talk to me. We'll make this happen. It's not you showing up to the field, not knowing what you're going to do or why you're going to do it, and just getting through a session. That is not how we're going to operate here at Tormenta. Long-term versus short-term development and success. Beginning with the end in mind, we contour the youth soccer experience to culminate with a well-rounded individual by featuring personal and player development over the course of multiple years. Are you providing a standard for off-the-field behavior for your player? Or are you simply talking X's and O's? Are you building a relationship with your player so that they see you as a role model? Or does the only thing that matters to you is how we do on the soccer field? It's got to be the whole person. Communication requirements. This is going to be something that we're going to talk about quite often this year. And you need to make sure that you are living up to this standard. This is really, we're setting a standard here, and it's quite easy for me to check on this. So we need to make sure that we are performing at the level we need to be. My personal belief is, as we communicate with parents, bring them in closer to us and make them part of our team, they will go out and find more players for us in the neighborhoods. They will support our program more. Their child will attend practice more, but it takes the coach to set up that relationship. This right here that I have written down with the academy coach communication requirements is the secret sauce to setting up that relationship. Communication is the primary method we use to partner with parents, having them join us in a partnership to better the overall youth sport experience for their child. Here is what you're going to do this year in order to create that success. An in-person preseason team meeting, number one. In your initial email, you should be setting that up for either during your preseason camp or during your first week of training. It should be done either before the session or after the session. There's no excuses here to this. Every team is having an in-person meeting. In your email, you will send an invite and attach an overview of the meeting. Don't worry, I go over what you need to talk about at the meeting. Include your contact information in the email and when parents should be contacting you. Here's what you need to include in your meeting. Here's what you need to include also in your email that you're going to send out to the parents of what you're actually going to be doing during the meeting. A personal introduction featuring your soccer player background and your personal background. Club mission, vision, and values, and philosophy on development. A lot of that is the why. Why are we doing this? Parents think we're just showing up to show soccer. It is far from it. We are trying to create positive people as they move into society, boys and girls. Dates, times, locations of training for the season. You need to review that at your meeting. It also needs to be on your email. All tournament and league information that is currently available. A team manager introduction and what the team manager's roles and responsibilities are. Parent sideline behavior expectations. The important soccer questions I want you to answer are, how do I know my child is improving if I'm looking at this from the parent's role? What does player development look like at Tormenta? You need to make sure you have this information very well down when you're talking to the parents. Meeting closure, providing time for questions and offering another time for personal questions if they want to email you or call you. This is what that preseason meeting should look like. This is a 10 to 15 minute meeting where all the parents get to know you. They understand you are a good person and they understand you have their child's interests as your number one important piece of why you're doing this. They will also learn a little bit about Tormenta FC and what we can provide for them throughout the season. During the season, I'm going to need 2 emails per week to parents. Now, some weeks it might only be 1 email, some weeks it might be 2. I want to be CC'd on every single one of these emails along with your program director that go to your parents. Email 1, beginning of the week, that includes the training plan for the week. Tell the parents what you're doing at practice. They want to know more and more and more. They are on our team. They're our partners. And any other details such as upcoming professional games, opportunities to referee, academy happenings. Is there an opportunity to, if you're coach 16, 17, or 19, can you put information in there about how to get into college? 100%. Email 2, weekend recap of game activities. After you finish your game, you go and write it up for the parent. The more information you tell them from your point of view, the more they're going to partner with us, the more they're going to be on your side. Create a relationship with the parents as well. Not interested in sending an email? Talking to your computer like I'm doing right now, or talking to your phone, and then send it to the parents. So maybe you're better at that. Walk across the field after the game and talk to your parents if you like. If you do, talk into the computer or the phone and then send it to your parents. Make sure you CC me on it. If you walk across the field and talk to your parents, make sure you tell me what happened during that interaction. This is something that I'm going to be looking out for throughout the year, that this level of communication is what is happening for all of our teams. So make sure you are on top of this expectation. Each select team is going to have a mid-season player review where you go over you create a standard for this player. I will help with that. You create an evaluation. I will help with that and make sure we get that out. You will fill it out. You will have an in-person meeting or a Zoom with the player and parent. Middle of the season. You will also create an IDP for each player, and I'll help you with that as well, as will your director for your area. There's also going to be an end of season player review featuring another Zoom meeting or in person and an IDP for that player. Myself and your director will be involved with setting up these meetings and making sure the plans get out the way they need to be at this point. Coach's checklist. So we've created a checklist for what we need to do in the preseason, what needs to happen during the season, what needs to happen postseason. I'm expecting you as the responsible coach that you go in there and you make sure all of these things happen. If something doesn't make sense, call me, email me, text me. I'm super available anytime. Let me know what's going on. A couple of items to highlight. Preseason. Run the preseason player and parent meeting during preseason camp or the first week of your training. I also want to highlight coach introductory email outlining the upcoming season and setting up the preseason meeting with an itinerary. I should be CC'd on that email. So should your program director. Middle of the season. Check the official league site to make sure game time, location, uniform color are accurate in play metrics. Remind players to mark availability for upcoming games and find club pass players through your program director as needed. You should be emailing the other team's coach on a Monday so you know what everybody is wearing on the weekend. You know where the game is at. You know if any kind of craziness is happening. That's the level of communication you need to have if you're going to be a professional coach in our academy. Interact with the team's players and parents off the field in a professional and inviting manner through post-game dinners or post-practice conversations. Create the relationship with the parent like you do with the kid. Mid-season player review. Postseason parties are fun. Work with your team manager to set up a postseason party. If your season ends in the December-January timeframe, there should be a postseason party in there with some awards. Do you want 3 medals for your team and you create 3 awards? Those were very memorable when I was a high school coach, and I don't know why we don't do it at the club. We need to add this into our club for every single team we have. And let's set it up and do it with multiple teams at the same time if we want to. I didn't mention this earlier, but players and parents, U15 and older, continue educating about the college recruitment cycle and what that looks like. If your team participates in the fall and the spring, ensure you have a fantastic connection with each player. Do you want to have a season closure party in the fall and the spring? Go for it. More team cohesion, more relationship building. Make it happen. Create that relationship so we don't go from 17 players in the fall to 12 in the spring and wonder what happened. I can't believe this happened. Well, there must have been some writing on the wall. We want 17 in the fall and 18 in the spring. Have one buddy go find a friend that becomes the best player on the field. You have a massive opportunity to make a positive difference in the life of so many players and families and creating lifetime memories that resonate long after the 24-25 season is complete. When I get together with my brother and my mom, some of the greatest memories we had in our youth is talking about our youth sport appearances and whether it was a success or not a success. There was team cohesion and relationships that were built. And when I say success or not success, that's defined by winning or losing. That's how we defined it back then. But that's not how we define it now. Have you heard me talk about the level of fun we're going to be having during every session to create these opportunities for winning games on the weekend and at tournaments. We will do this as a group and provide the professional experience across the board in each city to all members of Tormenta FC Academy. Families will learn about the Tormenta way from near and far as we raise the expectations for the region. By educating the parents, they go out and tell others about what we are trying to accomplish here in educating their children on a field. That brings in more families and players to try to get our teams to an even higher level. This has to be super important in what we're doing this year. Phil Jackson, nice little quote from him here. The strength of the team is each individual member. The strength of each member is the team. When we do this together, it is when it works. It's not when one parent calls me and says their child is getting this exemplary experience at a U17 with that coach, and then at U14, another parent calls me and tells me they don't know what is going on with their team. That makes me question, is communication happening? Is relationship building happening? Is fun during training sessions and games happening? I know it's happening on that 17 group, but on that 14 group, that's going to be major questions. And I'm going to come directly to the coach and we're going to have a conversation and see if you can live up to this Tormenta way of positivity and fun that we're trying to create. This is just the beginning of what we're trying to create here at Tormenta. Over the course of numerous years, we've built it to this point, but there are so many touch points that we can clean up and make better during this season and all the seasons to come. This is the beginning of you excelling as a coach, continuing to excel as a coach, and getting even better and improving even more, and take it upon yourself to create these memorable experiences for families. That's what we want out of this year. You can call me, email me, text me at any time. I want to create a positive relationship with each coach in our group and get to as many families as I can. I'm happy to answer all questions and make it happen for you on the field. As I said, this is going to be a beginning, and I'm looking forward to this entire season within our select program. Thanks a lot, and I hope you have a great rest of the summer, and I look forward to seeing you on the field very soon.